Welcome to the Texas Wine Scene Podcast, the most up-to-date information to help you prepare for your wine tasting weekend. I'm Mike, your Texas Wine Scene correspondent, bringing you all the wine happenings in and around the great state of Texas, from the high plains to the hill country. If you love Texas wine, you've come to the right place. Let's take a trip. Welcome back, everyone, to the Texas Wine Scene Podcast. I am your host, your Texas Wine Scene correspondent, Mike Cole, bringing you all the wine happenings in and around the great state of Texas. It is so good to be back in the studio doing another episode this week. I hope everyone is doing well, especially those folks down there in the Gulf Coast wine growing region near Houston. There have been some heavy rains and winds in that area doing a lot of damage to the city and surrounding areas. So I hope everyone is getting back on track. I hope everyone is doing fine down there. And hopefully we can get cleaned up and get back to some great wine tasting for the weekend. Hopefully the wineries and everyone's doing good. And let's get back to drinking some great Texas wine and seeing some good times. So let's go ahead and get into the episode for the week. If you are a subscriber to the podcast, thank you so much for returning and tuning into this week's episode. And if you are new to the podcast, thank you so much for stopping by to check us out. We are an information-based podcast supporting and sharing wine events, tastings, and industry news from around the great state of Texas. So I hope you enjoy this content. And if you do, please consider subscribing and sharing this podcast with all your wine-loving friends. It helps to continue to spread the word about the podcast and keeps everyone informed about current wine-related events. And also, hey, please follow me on my socials at Texas Wine Scene on Instagram and Texas Wine Scene on Facebook, where you'll see all the posts about upcoming events for the weekend. We will continue our mini-series this week on the top red and white grape varieties in Texas, and this week we take a closer look at Mourvèdre. Mourvèdre, also known as Mataro or Monastrell, is a red wine grape varietal that has originated on the Mediterranean coast of Spain. Mourvèdre prefers very warm weather with adequate water or irrigation to produce intensely flavored fruit that is not overly jammy or herbaceous. Mourvèdre arrived in California in the 1860s as part of the Perrier collection. Louis Perrier was a native of Hippolyte, France, who came to America during the gold rush and was the first to bring pruning and other fruit varietals to California soils. In the vineyard, Mourvèdre has a tendency to both bud late and ripen late in the growing season. As a result, it avoids the dangers of spring frost and develops concentrated fruit flavors over a long growing season. It likes its face in the hot sun and its feet in the water, which means it likes more grapes exposed to the sun with less leaf cover and its roots planted firmly in clay soils which retain moisture. Grape clusters of Mourvèdre are relatively compact, which enhances its susceptibility to mildew, with small, thick-skinned berries that are high in both color and flavor compounds. Mourvèdre is a full-body red wine that has the potential to produce a deeply colored red fruit with earthy and spice notes and very high tannins and alcohol. Mourvèdre is a prominent component in the GSM blends or the Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvèdre blends. With the vast and varied hot and dry climates of Texas, it mirrors the conditions of Mourvèdre in Spain. So as Texas winemakers continue to hone in on the fruit qualities and vinification techniques of this remarkable grape variety, Texas wine consumers can expect to see more award-winning wines throughout the state. Tune in next week as we continue our look at the top red and white grape varieties in Texas with the look at Sangiovese. Before we get to the events for the weekend, let's check the weather. The weather for the weekend in the High Plains wine growing region will have high temperatures of 94 degrees with low temperatures of 57 degrees. The North Texas wine growing region will have high temperatures of 90 degrees with low temperatures of 66 degrees. The West Texas wine growing region will have high temperatures of 90 degrees with low temperatures of 54 degrees. The Texas Hill Country wine growing region will have high temperatures of 90 degrees with low temperatures of 64 degrees. And the Gulf Coast wine growing region around the Houston area will have high temperatures of 92 degrees with low temperatures of 73 degrees. More than 35 wineries in the North Texas wine growing region are still excited about serving you great Texas wine during their North Texas Wine Trail event. Raise a glass to springtime in North Texas and join them on a wine trail adventure like no other. From May 1st to June 2nd, sip and savor your way through the beautiful North Texas wine country to see the vineyards in bloom and all the lively tasting rooms. Don't miss out on this deliciously delightful way to welcome in the spring season. Wine tastings include a minimum of 3 tastes of wine at each participating winery, which includes RK Winery and Vineyard in St. Joe, Bingham Winery and Grapevine, Bingham Family Vineyards in Roanoke, Blue Ostrich Winery and Vineyard in Providence Village, Landon Winery in Denison, and Landon Winery and Grapevine, just to name a few. For more information and passport purchases for this event, visit NorthTexasWine.com. Head on out to the 40th Annual Main Street Fest in downtown Grapevine on Friday and Saturday, May 17th and 18th from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. and on Sunday from 11 to 6 p.m. Main Street Fest is a family-friendly festival in the heart of historic Grapevine, Texas. It's 3 fun-filled days of live music, wine tastings, craft beverage experiences, delicious eats, shopping, and much, much more. Main Street Fest has a unique kids zone and tons of fun in the Carnival Midway. So bring the whole family out to enjoy this wonderful event. Enjoy a full glass of wine at the Grapevine Wine Pavilion, where local Grapevine wineries will be serving an assortment of grape varietals, which will be sold and served by the Wine Pouring Society of Grapevine. For more information on this event, visit grapevinetexasusa.com. Anybody interested in steak, wine, and a good time? Well, if so, then grab a buddy and head on over to Hyco, Texas for Hyco's original Texas steak cook-off on Saturday, May 18th from 9 to 7 p.m. This is a one-of-a-kind food, wine, music, and cook-off event with delicious appetizers, a ribeye steak dinner with all the fixings, and shopping from local vendors. Backyard chefs from all over the Southwest descend upon Hyco, Texas on the 3rd Saturday every May to compete for bragging rights and the title for Best Backyard Chef in Texas. The itinerary includes appetizers and wine tasting starting at 11 a.m., the opening ceremonies at 12. You'll have live music by Billy Hartman and Zach Pack at 1 p.m., also live music by Tom Pevere at 3:30 to 5 p.m. The steak dinner starts at 5 p.m. and more live music by the Simon Flory Band at 5:30 p.m. to close out the evening. For more information on this Texas-sized food and wine event, visit TexasSteakCookoff.com. We have a couple wine events for the furry friends in your life, beginning with Dry Comel Creek Vineyards in New Braunfels' Woofs and Wine event on May 19th from 3 to 6 p.m. Woofs and Wine is a great opportunity to bring your family out for an amazing experience that supports service dogs for kids. This is a one-of-a-kind nonprofit that services youths with invisible disabilities. Service Dogs for Kids assist children 18 and under that have been abused and have experienced trauma that results in PTSD, anxiety, or depression. They help kids with these disabilities obtain a psychiatric service dog at no cost to the family. Service Dogs for Kids aims to empower our youth to take back their lives, one child, one dog, one day at a time. For more information on this event, visit DryComelCreekVineyards.com. If that event is not a doggone good time, then head on out to Vinovium Winery in Johnson City for their 4th annual Nacho and Friends event on May 19th from 1 to 4 p.m. They have a whole day planned for you, your family, and your best furry friend, including local vendors, live music by Fun Gus and the Shrooms, and games for your dog to feel like they're on top of the world. After all, this day is all about them. So come on out and celebrate your furry friend and also honor the ones that may not be with us, but are always there. Nacho wouldn't have it any other way. Your ticket purchase includes a drink ticket to be used at Vinovium for a featured wine or wine cocktail. For more information on this event, visit vinovium.wine. Los Pinos Ranch Vineyards in Pittsburgh, Texas is having their Bubbles and Blooms event on Sunday, May 19th from 12 to 2 p.m. Come out and sip on a glass of bubbly while creating your own floral arrangements to take home. East Texas Flower Farm will provide all the flowers and supplies to help you build the perfect bouquet while also giving you some tips and tricks to help along the way. Your ticket purchase includes all supplies, a glass of bubbly, and charcuterie boxes to snack on. For more information on this event, visit their website at lospinosranchvineyards.com. Here's a great event for all my wine-loving bookworms out there. Join Barons Creek Vineyards in Fredericksburg, Texas for their Read Between the Wines event on Sunday, May 19th from 1 to 2:30 p.m. This is an exclusive wine tasting and book reading event featuring the talented author Julie D. Simmons and her captivating novel, The Lost Canvas. This is a wonderful opportunity to meet the author in person and immerse yourself into the enchanting world of literature. Your ticket purchase includes your wine tasting, a copy of the book, and a wine journal. For more information on this event, visit their website at baronscreekvineyards.com. And those are your wine events for the weekend. Stay tuned for your music lineup for the weekend up next. Threshold Vineyards in Navasota gets the music lineup started this weekend with the Southern Songbirds on stage Friday, May 17th from 6 to 9 p.m. Bernhardt Winery in Plantersville will have AJ Santana on stage Saturday, May 18th from 1 to 5 p.m., followed by Already Gone performing an Eagles tribute later that evening from 7 to 9 p.m. And Silver Sager will finish out the set on Sunday, May 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. Moody Family Wines in Bullard, Texas will have Gypsum and the Travelers on stage Saturday, May 18th at 6 p.m. Parmesan Wines in Dripping Springs will host John Parmentier on stage Saturday, May 18th from 2 to 5 p.m., followed by Ashley Bianca on Sunday, May 19th from 2 to 5 p.m. as well. Wimberley Valley Winery in Driftwood will have Dylan Havens on stage Saturday, May 18th from 4 to 7 p.m. Dukeman Family Winery in Driftwood will let Mark Dennison jam out on Saturday, May 18th from 4 to 7 p.m. Lost Oak Winery in Burleson will have Dueling Pianos on stage Saturday, May 18th from 6 to 9 p.m. Dove Ridge Winery in Weatherford, Texas will let Darren Kobachek assume the musical duties on Saturday, May 18th from 2 to 5 p.m. Barons Creek Winery in Fredericksburg will have the talented Kalani on stage Saturday, May 18th from 1 to 4 p.m. Marker Cellars Winery in Bridgeport, Texas will have Jazz Dulce on stage Saturday, May 18th from 5 to 8 p.m. Lone Star Winery in McKinney has a great music lineup for the weekend, starting with Byron Haney on stage Friday, May 17th from 8 to 11 p.m. AJ Rain will pick up the musical baton on Saturday, May 18th from 2 to 5 p.m., followed by Ken and Kathy from 8 to 11 p.m. And GS Jazz will finish the weekend set on Sunday, May 19th from 4 to 7 p.m. Tornalocks in Burnett, Texas will have Rodney Howell on stage Saturday, May 18th from 2 to 5 p.m. Spicewood Vineyards in Spicewood, Texas will let Robert Parker Jr. grace the stage on Saturday, May 18th from 2 to 5 p.m. Pedernales Cellars in Stonewall will have Beth Lee on stage Saturday, May 18th from 1 to 5 p.m. Dry Commill Creek Vineyards in New Braunfels will have Phil Luna on stage Saturday, May 18th from 2 to 5 p.m. Bending Branch Winery in Comfort, Texas will have Nico and Jacob on stage Sunday, May 19th from 2 to 5 p.m. Bell Springs Winery in Dripping Springs will host Jamie Thomas on stage Saturday, May 18th from 3 to 6 p.m. Archray Winery in Fredericksburg will have Julian Hudson on stage Saturday, May 18th from 2 to 5 p.m., followed by Abe Mack on Sunday, May 19th from 12 to 3 p.m. Texas Heritage Vineyards in Fredericksburg will let Woody Eastman rock the house on Friday, May 17th from 2 to 4 p.m., followed by Surrender Hill on Sunday, May 19th from 2 to 4 p.m. as well. Fiesta Winery on 290 will have Wake Eastman on stage Saturday, May 18th from 3 to 6 p.m. Fiesta Winery at the Bend location will have Chase Gassaway on stage May 18th from 1 to 5 p.m. and Terry Brown on Sunday, May 19th from 1 to 4 p.m. The Texas Wine Collective in Fredericksburg will host a very popular Lonnie Lett on stage May 18th from 1 to 5 p.m. And the Whistling Duck Winery in Weimar, Texas will close out the music lineup for the weekend with Bill Picard on stage Saturday, May 18th from 2 to 5 p.m. And that's your music lineup for the weekend. Stay tuned for Did You Know? This week, we check in to see what's going on in the vineyard's growth cycle. The month of May and June are critical stages in the development of fruit on the grapevine. This stage is called flowering and fruit set. Flowering and fruit set takes place in May through June in the Northern Hemisphere and November through December in the Southern Hemisphere. For a vine to be successful in flowering and fruit set, it must have a minimum temperature of about 63 degrees. There are some exceptions of grape varieties like Riesling that can experience successful fruit set in colder temperatures below 60 degrees. The grapevine also requires sunlight, water, and nutrients to have a very successful fruit setting growing season. But before we talk about the process involved with flowering and fruit set, let's briefly review the subject of pollination. The goal of every living organism, including plants, is to create offspring for the next generation. One of the ways that plants can reproduce offspring is by making seeds, which contains genetic information to produce a new plant. Pollination is the act of transferring pollen grains from the male anther of one flower to the female stigma of another. This process is called cross-pollination. Cross-pollination occurs through three different methods, which are wind, water, or rain. Approximately 98% of cross-pollination, though, occurs by wind. But did you know that grapevines are self-pollinating plants? Here's the process. Grapevine flowers has both a stamen, which includes a filament and anther, and a stigma. Pollen grains are shed from the anther and land on the surface of the stigma. In a process called germination, each pollen grain creates a pollen tube that penetrates the stigma and then the ovule, the female reproductive cells in the ovary. The pollen tube delivers the sperm cells that fertilize the egg in the ovule, which ultimately leads to the formation of the grapeberry. The transition from the flower to the grape is called fruit set. Typically, 30% of flowers become grapes. The development and growth of pollen tubes can be negatively affected by cold weather or rain and windy conditions. If the pollen tubes are unable to develop and allow the sperm to fertilize the ovum, causing an unsuccessful fruit, the condition is called coulure. If there is successful fertilization, but a high proportion of the grape berries that are small and don't have seeds, this condition is called Miller-Ondange. With small berries and reduced yields of the grapes, Miller-Ondange ultimately causes a limited production of wine. So let's hope that our grape growers are experiencing optimal weather conditions in this month of May and into June for a bountiful harvest, so the winemakers can work their magic and produce exceptional wines for all of us to enjoy. Well, that will do it for this week's episode. Thank you for joining me. I'm Mike Cole, your Texas wine scene correspondent, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Texas Wine Scene. Cheers. For more in-depth information on the wineries mentioned in this episode, visit the Texas Wine Lover website at txwinelover.com or the Texas Wine Lover app. There you will be able to find a vast amount of information about Texas wineries and wine-related businesses. You can search for information such as winery hours, grape varieties, food options, pet and kid-friendly wineries, and much, much more. So visit their website at txwinelover.com. That's txwinelover.com. Also, please leave us a review and share the podcast with all your wine-loving friends. Cheers.